So we're going to finish off step 30 now. So the previous video we saw how to do the instructions for the query. So once you've created the fields that they've asked you to create, and you've looked for the specific records that they want to show in the report, then basically the rest is done in the report. Okay, so these bullets here that are highlighted, we did in the previous video, so now we're going to continue and do the rest. So just of the report, these bullets over here are probably not going to be in order, so you're going to have to read through these quite carefully as you go through the report wizard, etc., and just make sure you fulfill or complete each instruction before you completely finish with your report. Okay, so once you're done with your query, all you're going to do is you're going to go straight away and create a report via the report wizard. So you go to create at the top, report wizard, you save your query, maybe just call it the step that we have been working on, so this is step 30. And now we read very carefully. So which fields do we want to show in the report? So not this bullet over here, but the bullet that follows. So you can see it's not in order. This bullet here tells us what fields we must show. So VIN model cost price. So let's add these in. So VIN model cost price. Contact name, port, and order. So contact name, port, and order. And once you've selected the fields, we go next. We never do anything in this window, so we can skip it. We never do grouping, so we can skip it. Okay, sorting data into ascending or descending order of a field. Okay, so this one here we have completed. So this bullet tells us that we have to put an ascending order of model. So in the drop down list, we choose model. Make sure it says ascending here. If you need to make it descending, you can just click on it. It will change it for you. But we're going to leave it on ascending. Next. The orientation. See if it says anything about orientation. It says orientation here must be landscape. So we choose landscape. We go next. And then the title of our report. The heading is cars ready for dispatch. So we change that. Cars ready for dispatch. Then we just click finish. So all we're going to do now, this will be your print preview. You click on close print preview. Let's go to view, go to layout view. And what you need to do is just make sure everything's fully visible and fields aren't like too close to each other or information's not being cut off. So all the information here you can see looks like it's been fully displayed. But just to show you in case you ever get a situation where it's not. So for example, if the order field was showing something like this, where the hashes, it means that the information's not fully displayed or there's not enough space to be displayed for it. So all you do is just click on that field and you lengthen it until the information is visible. Okay, but usually when you lengthen or shorten a field, you would click on the data itself, so you can see here it highlights the whole column. And holding down shift, you would choose the heading too. So you can see I've kind of put it out of line. But once you have highlighted both, then you would just change it. And you can also drag the fields. Okay, so with the mouse you can hold it down and drag it across to move it to specific places. Or you can use the arrows on your keyboard. You can also move the fields around like this. So let's just make a few changes. Like model, you can see it's taking up quite a bit of space here. So I'm just going to shorten this. Maybe move VIN up a bit to give cost price some space between contact name. So this one's not too bad, but just be very careful once you have created a report to go to this view, layout view, and make sure everything is fine. Because if it's not fully visible or things aren't on the page, for example if they go over this dotted line, you might lose some marks. But ours is fine for now. Alright, so let's see if there's anything else. We've done these bullets, sorted in ascending order, shows these fields. We are displaying all the data that they've asked us to, so that's done. Fits onto a single page wide, so that just means that it fits all on this page. You can see all the data does, so that is good. Landscape we've changed in the wizard. So the last two things are the average of the cost price, and then putting your name, etc. on every page. And then basically with the average, what consists of these bullets too. So let's start with this one over here. So calculate the average cost price of the cars. The calculation should have a label to the left of the calculation. Average car price. And basically the calculation should be formatted to euros with 0 decimal places and be placed at the bottom of the cost price field. Okay, so the cost price field is the field we want to get the average of. So in this report, all you do is you'd select the values under cost price. So everything's highlighted. You'd right click. You'd go to total cost price. And then you choose the function that you want to work with. So we want the average of the cost price field. So you click on average. If we scroll to the bottom, the average should appear. And there it is. Okay, so that would immediately take care of the value being showed at the bottom of the cost price field. So that's good. We've got to format to euros to 0 decimal places. So what we're going to do is right click on it. Properties. We're going to change the format from blank. We're going to make it euros. And decimal places, we're going to make sure it's 2. Even though automatically it should do that for us. Okay, so that, oh sorry, not 2 decimal places, my bad, it's 0 decimal places. So 0. And you can see it does it for you. Okay, cool, so that takes care of the calculation itself. But now the label, we have to have average car price to the left of it. Okay, so for this part we go to View, Design View. There's our calculation. So we're going to put a label, which is the capital A, small a. We're going to drag it down. And then we're going to type in the label, average car, let me just double check this, sorry. Average car price. And then a colon. And then maybe just shorten the box so that just the text fits roughly. And then move it up so that it is next to and on the left of your formula. So if we go to View and Layout View now, we should see that both labels, for the calculation, the label should be visible at the bottom. And that is correct. And the last thing now is to make sure your name, etc. is on the left in the page footer. So just read very carefully. They'll tell you sometimes where to put your information. It has to go where they tell you it must go. So to put it in the footer on the left, go to View, Design View. Here's the page footer, this little space here. So if we want to put it on the left, we're going to have to make some space because we have this equal now box. So the equal now box, if we go back to this view, the equal now box is the date. So we're going to put it underneath the date box. So all we do, the report footer, the top of this bar, we drag it down a little bit. And then another label, capital A, small a. And then you'd put your name, your center number. We'll probably keep it in the order that they've got. Center number, okay. Center number, candidate number. So if you go to View, Layout View, it should be visible now. And there it is. Okay, cool. So that is the end of step 30. So you'd have to probably print your report. So in that case, in this view over here, you just go File, Print, and you just say OK once you've selected the printer. And you just make sure that once you've printed it, you are satisfied with this question before you move on. Make sure your name's on the page, everything's fully visible, calculations are shown, labels are there, etc. So that's the end of the most common type of question that you might get in Access.